It's Jim Hutchins for the Jerusalem Connection Spot Report for this week. Last week, March 4 through 8, was infamously titled by many leftists and secular university campuses as Israel Apartheid Week. Israel Apartheid Week. Now, what do we mean by apartheid? Apartheid is defined in the dictionary as an official policy of racial discrimination and segregation formerly practiced in the Republic of South Africa, involving political, legal, and economic discrimination against non-whites, a policy or practice of separating or segregating groups. Now, this is a charge against Israel. It's pretty hard to make that stick, realistically. And just a minute, I want you to take a look at a video that's just below where you clicked on to my video here. It's by Dennis Prager, and it's a very compelling, very concise explanation and denunciation, really, of apartheid. Israel is not guilty of that. As a matter of fact, I think it's an expression of anti-Semitism. I was in hopes to find something from a U.S. government official that would denounce this. I didn't. Maybe they did. Some U.S. official may have, but I didn't find it. But I did find a remarkable statement by a Canadian parliamentarian, the Honorable Jason Kenney, Minister of Citizenship, Immigration, and Multiculturalism. He said this: "The disproportionate vitriol directed against the democratic state of Israel during Israel Apartheid Week stands in stark and ironic contrast to the silence of Israel Apartheid Week organizers on the ongoing atrocities committed by for example, the Syrian regime against its own citizens, and on the rampant brutalities and denial of rights in non-democratic countries in the Middle East and elsewhere in the world." He goes on to say, operating under the guise of academic freedom, and this is rampant in the secular universities. Anti-Semitism is alive and well and growing on secular universities under the guise of academic freedom. Operating under the guise of academic freedom, Israel Apartheid Week is a misleading attempt to delegitimize and demonize the only true liberal democracy in the Middle East. Israel Apartheid Week's organizers choose to promote inflammatory propaganda over civil and enlightened debate. Their approach is at odds with the Canadian values, and I would hope the values of the United States, values of tolerance and mutual respect, and prevents meaningful dialogue from taking place. Israel Apartheid Week is basically an exercise in anti-Semitism. And what do we mean by when we say anti-Semitism today? Well, a current definition of that I think is very helpful. It's been made by Natan Sharansky. He heads the Jewish Agency today. He was formerly a Russian dissident. He was released from a Russian gulag in 1986 at the behest and at the intercessory efforts of President Ronald Reagan. He says this about anti-Semitism today. He says, we call it a 3D test. 3D test. First D is the test of demonization. When the Jewish state is being demonized, when Israel's actions are blown out of all sensible proportion, when comparisons are made between Israelis and Nazis, between Palestinian refugee camps and Auschwitz, this is anti-Semitism and not legitimate criticism of Israel. The second D is the test of double standards. When criticism of Israel is applied selectively, when Israel is singled out among the nations for human rights abuses, while the behavior of known and major abusers, such as China, Iran, Cuba, North Korea, Syria, the Muslim dictatorships, when this is ignored, when Israel's Magen David Adom, alone among the world's ambulance services, is denied admission to the International Red Cross, this is anti-Semitism. And finally, the third D is the test of delegitimization. When Israel's fundamental right to exist is denied alone among all the peoples of the world, this too is anti-Semitism. Israel Apartheid Week. Is Israel an apartheid state? Not hardly. Not hardly. But I want you to go now to the Dennis Prager video that just follows mine here and hear what he has to say about this. It'd be very helpful for your understanding. Till next week, Od Ki Yavo Shiloh, or until Messiah comes, Shalom Aleichem.